Hi everybody, I'm Paul Billings and I'll be your professor for our introductory statistics course together this semester. I wanted to take just a brief moment to talk to you a little bit about setting yourself up to be successful in the course this semester. It's a big class. I'm sure most of you have been dreading it. Very rarely do I have a student sign up who is excited to take statistics. So odds are, if you're watching this video, it's because someone told you you have to take this class to get whatever degree you're shooting for, and that's okay. We're going to get through it all together, and it'll be fine, trust me. So again, my name is Paul Billings, and before I was a professor at CSN, I worked as a school psychologist here at the Clark County School District for a number of years. So leading assessment teams, giving intelligence tests and academic tests and behavioral assessments and all that kind of stuff, which is all built on statistics. So really, this is just an extension of what I did before in some ways. Just a little bit of background about me. Let's talk a little bit more about the course. Of course, the first thing you really want to do is get into that syllabus and really take a few minutes to read it. Don't just scan it. You're going to miss important stuff. I know it feels like busy work very often, syllabi, but there's really a lot of important information in there that you're going to want to really pay close attention to. In particular, the schedule at the end, all the due dates. There's a bunch of different things to keep track of, and so you want to make sure you're not losing points because you've lost track of your schedule. The book is The Essentials of Statistics for Behavioral Sciences. It's the 9th edition by Graviter, Wallnow, and Forzano. I don't have a copy. I don't have a copy of the student book, or I would hold it up here and say, this is what it looks like. But that's what it is. You want to make sure you have that correct edition. Make sure it says Essentials, so it's a paperback, or if you get a digital. And make sure it's the 9th edition. Really, from edition to edition, the content doesn't change much, but all the example problems in the chapters change, and all the homework problems at the end of the chapters change. So we'll be using the book, of course, not just for you to read, but also as a common source of questions and examples and things for us to do together. So you really want to make sure you've got the right version of that. The other thing you want to make sure you've got a handle on is a calculator. Cell phone calculators are fine, but most students actually find it a little bit cleaner and easier if they have a separate calculator they're using that isn't their cell phone calculator. For me, I don't really care. What matters is that all it has to be able to do is add, subtract, multiply, divide, square root, and have a memory function. If it's got that stuff in there, you're good to go. That's all your calculator has to be able to do. So if you're going to go get a calculator, don't get anything too complicated. We don't need anything they would take on the space shuttle. Just a straight up calculator will do it. So make sure you're comfortable with using that. We're not going to be using any statistics software in this course. We could be using Excel or SPSS or some other packages out there. I like to try to keep the cost for the course as low as I can, and so as a result, we're just using calculators. So make sure that you've got one that works and that you know how to use it. While I'm presenting problems and going through examples in these basically lecture-style videos, make sure you are calculating along with me. Make sure you pause the video from time to time and do the calculations. Make sure you're able to get the same results that I am. Very often it sort of goes in the student head, it goes, oh, that makes sense to me, I get that, I don't need to do it. You do, you've got to practice it or you won't be able to own it. So make sure that you calculate along in as close to real time as you can do, if you will, with the videos. So pause them and calculate, make sure you're getting the right thing. If you're not, do it over again until you're getting the right answer. Obviously, if you can't get the right answer, you need to get a hold of me so I can help you. Self-reliance, self-awareness are key to success in this course. That'd be true whether we were doing this live together in a classroom or here remotely through the internet. You really have to be self-aware. Are you understanding? Yes or no? If the answer is no, you have to do something about that. Unlike most every other course you've taken and ever will take, this class is pretty linear, particularly once we get outside of about chapter 3. So if you can't do the material in chapter 2, you really are not going to be able to do the material in chapter 3. If you can't do what's in chapter 3, you're not going to be able to nail what's in chapter 4. And so on and so forth through all 14 chapters we're going to do together. So there's not really ever a chapter that you can afford to go, I don't get it, but it's only one chapter. It'll keep coming back as a problem for you, as an obstacle for you. So make sure that you are staying current, that you are keeping up on all the little odds and ends with this course so that you are not falling behind. It can be a very difficult class to catch up in once you're behind. So stay proactive, and if you need help, you have to know to ask for it. So you can send me an email. Obviously, we're not on campus, so you can't really stop by my office. Calling my office isn't going to do much for you. But you can email me, and we can set up some tutoring. We might be able to handle it right through an email. But if you really need some extra help, I plan on offering some live remote tutoring to you this semester. That will probably be through the Zoom program. The school has a big blue button. I've played with it a little bit. I'm not quite as comfortable with it. So probably we will do that. If you want that, all you've got to do is ask, and I'll set up a private tutoring, or we can even do it with a few students at a time right there on the computer. So I am available to help you as much as you ask for. We just need to find times that work for you. I've got established office hours on the syllabus. It's in the middle of the day, so that might not work for you. If not, just let me know and we'll work something out. But you have to stay current, you have to stay self-aware, and you have to be willing to say, Paul, I need help with this. And I promise you I'll do everything I can to try to help you. Okay, so also make sure you take a look at the grading scale. I've got a copy of the syllabus right here. It's a long document. They've got lots of stuff for us to put in there. Make sure you pay attention to this schedule here on page 2. When you can get money back if you decide to get out of this class. When switching from credit to audit, if you decide to take that option. So the grading scale here tells you exactly how many points you need to get for an A, B, C, D by the end of the semester. What you're going to do, you'll see here, there's 4 exams. Typically what we do is we cover 3 chapters and then we do an exam. 3 more chapters, an exam, 3 more chapters, an exam. It's not exactly like that, but it's pretty close to it. And we also tend to take a quiz for just about every chapter. There's an exception in there. So it tends to be 1 week we do a chapter, you've read the book, you've watched the lecture videos, you've worked on some homework problems, that sort of a thing, you've done the quiz. And then, like I said, about every 3 chapters we cover an exam. I don't assign homework, you'll see in the grading scale, specifically as a graded assignment. You have quizzes that are graded. You have what are called course fundamentals assessments. These are meant to measure your learning against these course objectives here, as required by the state and by our regional accreditation agencies. So you can think of them like quizzes. They time differently, their point values are different. Read the details here in the syllabus, but they're essentially like little quizzes, little 10-point quizzes. But I don't assign homework. Some of you will need to do a lot of homework. Some of you won't need to do nearly as much as you think you might. And that'll change over the semester as we get into chapters 4 or 5. You'll probably need to do more work. The first 3 chapters, quite frankly, in this course are pretty easy. But I don't like just assigning homework because it feels like busy work for some students. Students that don't need that practice, why should they grind it just for points? So again, know yourself. If you feel like you get it, don't do any more homework. If you feel like it's still a little loose, turn the page in the back of the chapter and pick another problem and work on it until you feel confident, until you feel comfortable. The quizzes are timed and they're a tight time limit for some students. And it's so that you don't have time to look everything up. You have to know it. You have to learn it and know it. Same thing with the exams. They are major exams. They come in 2 parts. You can read about it here. And they tend to be not super tight on time, but you have to get down to business and get to work or you will run out of time. You won't have time to look stuff up. So make sure you're prepared. Make sure, again, you're staying on top of it. You know if you get it or not. You know if you need help or not. So make sure to take a look at all the little details in here for the different sorts of assignments. So the quizzes, the exams, the course fundamentals, all that stuff is outlaid for you. The rest of this is pretty boilerplate until you get to the schedule at the very, very end. And here you'll be able to see exactly what we're doing, when we're doing it, when it's due. All right, so just a couple minutes to say hello and welcome to class. I hope you all have a very productive and educational semester. And We'll see you inside the course for Chapter 1. All right.